All right, so we had a little mix-hap there. We're gonna just start right now because it wasn't actually streaming the video. So Jake Muller, Brett Swarts here. Jake, how you doing today?
Doing great, Brett. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We are at the Deferred Sales Trust cryptocurrency capital gains tax mastermind every Friday, 10 a.m. PST. We are streaming live on YouTube, typically showing a video, but you can go back and see that video on our YouTube channel. But today I'm excited, Jake. You know, it's another week, another deal close story as well. Big news. We have officially been approved by Kraken or Kraken, however you want to pronounce that. And it's big news because it's been a long time coming, but it's here. We've done it, and now it's on to the next piece of executing the trades. So that being said, Jake, how was your week?
It was wonderful. And just to clarify, when we say approved by Kraken or however you say it, essentially that just means that they accept the trust as an entity that they can set up an account underneath to receive, uh, a transfer or an exchange of the coins, and then we can sell out or exchange those coins inside of the trust, and it all works. Everything from a tax auditor standpoint, being able to see the breadcrumb trail, doing things the right way, very transparent, and in such a way that you end up not having a reportable taxable transaction.
Exactly right. So yeah, they're not providing tax or legal advice, but they did approve it as an official account to be able to do exactly what Jake just said. So we will talk about more of that here in a minute, but I want to remind everyone why we're here and what we're trying to do, which is just simply make simple all things deferred sales trust and make simple being able to invest, sell highly appreciated assets, especially cryptocurrency, high-end primary homes, real estate businesses, and have a nice exit plan to be able to defer the capital gains tax so that you and or your clients that you serve can create and preserve more wealth. What we have found in general that the biggest challenge between kind of three major wealth groups, that being, let's say, traditional, more stocks, bonds, mutual funds, that being maybe cryptocurrency, and that being maybe, let's say, investment real estate, that sometimes each of them, it's tough to get to one or the other, right? For example, in a 1031 exchange, if you're an investment real estate owner, you must use that strategy in order for you to defer tax, right? And that has to stay in like kind property, which means you cannot go into cryptocurrency, you cannot go into investment securities investments because it's not like kind. Likewise, if you're selling cryptocurrency, a lot of people want to be in real estate, but they don't want to get hit with the tax, right? The huge tax that can be somewhere between, 30, 40% or even higher, depending on what is potentially going to be passed here in the coming months with Biden proposing an increase in capital gains tax. So all of these things make challenges, and also as well, financial securities professionals or investors sometimes want to be in one or the other, but again, they don't know how to sell highly appreciated public stock or private stock. Well, we believe, and we've found and proven that the Deferred Sales Trust is a way to defer capital gains taxes from each asset class and to be able to access and invest in the others via the trust structure. So we hope that you get some insight today and you get a little more clarity. We're going to bring up some frequently asked questions. We're going to talk here, and we're talking about a deal story. But Jake, you want to add anything else to that vision and the purpose for being here?
You know, at the end of the day, it's all about having more of your money to do things with. If if you are the type of person, if you're the type of person who doesn't just need the money to go spend, but you invest it, if you're a serial entrepreneur or serial investor, so to speak, that you have plenty left to do in your career or plenty left to do in your retirement, and you through the DST, through this strategy, we allow you to do all of this stuff before paying taxes, which means that essentially sometimes, as Brett mentioned, instead of paying the 30, 40, or sometimes 50% taxes, you've got, in some scenarios, twice as much money to work with, to build with, to invest with. And that's really the heart of everything that we're going after here, is helping you do more with what you have.
Excellent. And for those who don't know, by the way, we might as well make introductions. My name is Brett Swarts. I'm founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions, and I'm an exclusive trustee for the Deferred Sales Trust. Been working with the structure for over 10,000 hours, over 10 years, and have trained and coached hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of professionals like Jake Muller and like other commercial real estate brokers on how to do this. Now, that being said, I can't do this alone. I need professionals and experts like Jake Muller, who is a financial advisor. I'm located in California. Jake's in Utah. And we service clients all over the U.S. with this strategy. And so, Jake, do you want to add a little bit more about your background as well and your expertise so people get a chance to understand where you're coming from?
Absolutely. So I'm kind of a unique financial advisor. I actually worked with an association of over 10,000 accountants where I coach tax advantaged wealth management strategies. I have a strong discipline in tax myself. I own a tax firm, and life is just too good right now. Um, I'm from Utah, but here, as you can see, I'm in the back of an Uber. I have some meetings today with some clients, big clients here in Texas that are having some capital gains needs, and that's what we're here taking care of for them.
Excellent. Yep. And we're riding, yeah, and I'll be traveling to New York and Paris coming up here in the coming months, and then Dallas as well. So you might find me in the back of an Uber with a hat on one day as well. So it's all good. We're just here to show up, and we're trying to make this kind of a hangout, and just to open up a question. So sometimes we have 2 people, sometimes we have 20. And so let's just dive right into today's kind of episode here. And it's the first deal close story. Okay. So this is for a couple, long-term real estate owners, as well as long-term real estate professional in the Bay Area selling a investment property. And I might have touched on it last week, and then it officially closed here. And I just want to kind of touch on that. A, it closed, and then B, kind of the process of how and where the funds can be invested, and kind of document kind of their journey with this, right? Because they're getting to know us for the first time. And it's one thing to do the transaction and understand the legality, feel comfortable there, understand where the funds are held, the bank, it's protected. Then there's the next step to how and where the funds are invested. And so that's where we're in the process of right now. So they, A, sold a highly appreciated investment property. B, they didn't want a 1031 exchange. C, they wanted to pay off debt, get some diversification. And they were seeing such a high, they thought they were going to get 2 million. They ended up getting about 2.8 for the sale. Now they did take a big distribution at close, which by the way is a common question that comes up for the Deferred Sales Trust. And they said, well, can we take some cash at close? Yeah. Now they'll pay tax on that, right? And they're like, okay, that's okay. See, they didn't want the full, let's say $2.7 million, but they did want a big percentage up front, and they took that, and that was fine, and they'll pay tax on that. It's totally cool. And then the remainder is in the trust, and it's in a deferral state until of which time they start receiving payments, which they'll probably start in the next 6 months or so on a monthly basis, and they'll pay tax on that as well. So that's the beauty. But in the meantime, the difference or the other delta that would have been somewhere around 40%, you have state of 13.3, federal of 20, Obamacare of 3.8, and then they have what's called like the depreciation recapture, right, would have took a big amount from that total amount that ended up going in there. So, all right, so now they're in the process. Okay, now the funds are there. It's closed. It's sitting at the bank. Now it's this window of, okay, let's get the funds working for us. And so that's where like Jake Muller will come in, and he'll say, hey, look, based upon your risk tolerance, based upon your needs, here's the suggestions of where and how the funds can be invested. So that is kind of the deal story. I'm actually going to be releasing a blog, and she's probably going to she's already allowed me to use her name. So, and I might even try to bring her on here, see if I can twist her arm. But her name is Tony, and she's and her husband is Ed, and she is a long-term luxury real estate professional in the Silicon Valley. Okay. And so she said, no, Brett, more people need to know about this. I'm so glad I was able to do it. You're welcome to use my name. And so I'll be releasing it, kind of a blog post story. We're calling it Living Your Best Life. It's kind of the capital gains tax solutions kind of theme of what is your best life. And so some people, like Jake was saying, it's going that next business venture. It's retiring from that business. It's selling that big house. It's selling that cryptocurrency. It's unlocking cash flow from the trust to do with what that allows you to do. So that being said, Jake, any thoughts on any of what I just talked about, or anything you want to kind of pull out of there?
I think the stories really make it real for people, Brett. So I think this is wonderful. Hope that you provide a link to the blog post, because, a lot of times people, it's all textbook and it's all boring until they see it in real life, or until they see a real life story.
Yeah, Precisely. Which leads into the third part of the mastermind today, which is we are officially approved by Kraken, right? And this is a long-term coming. And you might go back in our YouTube channel. I think we've been on maybe 6, 7 of these now at this point, Jake, right? And we kind of, our goal again is initially to just kind of break into this cryptocurrency world with the Deferred Sales Trust. There's never been a Deferred Sales Trust done in the cryptocurrency world. It was almost done in 2017, but it took too long to set up the accounts. There was some confusion at Coinbase. It just never happened. And then you know what happened. Everything kind of crashed after that. And now we are back trying to figure it out. People have the needs. And one of the things I've learned from this process is to be very, very early, right? Because again, we have seen a big, let's say, dip, right? Where Ethereum, this particular client, they bought it for about $100,000. And in 2017, they saw it race up to 6 million. Then they saw it really tank, right? And then let's say 5 months ago, they saw it race up all the way above 13 million. And now they've seen it tank back in half, back down to somewhere, I think about half of that. So about 6.5 million or so. So this being said, it's taken us about, 60 days, if I went back and got it exactly, to open the account up at Kraken. So we have the trust account set up pretty quick. In fact, we can do that in about 48 hours from the time that we have a call with myself, Deferred Sales Trust tax attorneys, Jake Mueller. Once that's opened, then we have the ability to have an EIN to go into like a Coinbase or a Binance or a Kraken and basically give them what they need. But by the time we gave them that and everything else that they kept asking for, they kept asking for more and more and more and more. And they had to get their arms around what this thing was, right? And who we were and making sure, and also who the note holder was, right? Which was the client who's selling the Ethereum and going to be transferring to the trust. So there's a lot. And it's actually pretty refreshing. In fact, it felt like much more than a bank, but they asked good questions and I think they did their due diligence really well. And I would want to know too, if some new people were coming and talking about transferring, millions of dollars of coin into one of their accounts, they got to know where it's coming from. They have a lot of regulations. All that being said, we worked through it, and over 70 emails, finally we got approved, and that's big news because now we are positioned to finally achieve success and actually do a deal. Now, which leads into the next part. Actually, let me pause there. Jake, any thoughts on that or anything you want to pull out of there?
No, I mean, just to reiterate, like you're saying, the next deal will be a lot easier because they've seen it before, they've done it before. We don't need 70 more emails. Just compare to the prior client, and hey, by the way, here's another DST, here's another Deferred Sales Trust account. Here's all the information you need for your due diligence. We have all the forms, the checklist, everything we need to do, and easy peasy. Next go.
Exactly. And that's the hope, right? And we won't know that for sure until we do the second one, but hopefully this sets the precedent, right? That they know who we are, what we're doing, especially once we actually officially close it and everyone gives their thumbs up, right? So that is the hope that we've done the hard work. And this is why we're wanting to document this so you could see the journey of where this has been and why we can help you if you're ready to go right now. So, which leads into the next part, which is executing the actual first trade. So this is interesting part 2 as well. Now they have a target rate, right? Ethereum hit about 4,000. It's dropped below 2,000, right? Ideally, they would have sold it, obviously, 4,000. They're also planning on dollar cost averaging out, meaning dollar cost selling out, and slowly taking chunks out. They weren't planning on just doing it all at once. But that being said, their gold number was around that 3,000, was around that 4,000, and now it's down to 2. So their goal is to wait till 3. But that being said, I went back and I said, hey, you know what? We don't want to take this for granted. Even though we have the account open, right? And even though we know 3,000 is the number and we're at, let's say, below 2,000, why don't we just send a small amount, and this small amount will just get the pipes flowing, right? Get all the transaction just in case there's a hiccup. And in other words, it's practicing, right? Growing up, played basketball and football, and we would drill and practice for the game. And I just said, look, these things can move very quickly, and he agreed, and we don't want to be stuck in a situation where it gets to that 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 again, just to see it completely fall apart in a couple of days and be back to where we were. So I said, look, let's at least get something, $1,000. Doesn't really matter, right, what the amount is, just to see that everything flows, everything's clear, everything's clean. then when you're ready for the larger amounts, we don't have to guess. Does that make sense, Jake? Any thoughts on that? And you're on mute if you want to unmute yourself there.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's definitely the process that we should proceed going forward, because we don't want the last minutes to be questionable. We don't want them to be trying to figure things out when it's really important and really time to sell and everything else. So, test the system, turn the hose on, so to speak, and see if it squirts like it's supposed to squirt.
Perfect. Yep. So that is the third. That's kind of the third part of this mastermind. The first one is kind of the vision and overview, kind of introduction. Second part is like a deal story, and then the third one is just the update on the actual Deferred Sales Trust closing the first cryptocurrency. We will get there, folks. We are close, and we love to document our journey along the way so we can all learn from this. And again, to demystify this Deferred Sales Trust so that you feel confident to close your deal using the Deferred Sales Trust. And we'll be also, by the way, part of this discussion I might as well talk about as well is security and protection of all of these trades, right? And so we're going through all of the 2FA authentication, right? Through phones, through Google Authenticator, lots of different ways to make sure that's protected. And as well, I'm working with the note holder, who is an expert in the Silicon Valley. He's been doing this computer world for a long time, and he's going to help me as well get detailed and dialed on how to make sure that this thing is seamless and protected during the transfers as well. So there's more to come on that. Again, we are learning on this. And we are, but at the same time, we're going to be documenting it and making sure that it all makes sense for everybody on that. So with that being said, Jake, any questions? Maybe you've been in a couple of meetings this last couple of weeks. Anything that's come up or that you would maybe think the audience, we'll go for maybe about 10 more minutes here since we don't have anyone with us but you and I today. But is there anything that you'd like to ask or any questions that you think would be helpful for the audience?
Oh, I think that overall people don't realize how much we're doing for them, because in other circumstances and with other trustees, the client's left on their own for the most part. They have to figure out, well, my goodness, how do I get my coins in the DST, or my goodness, how do I get all this done and taken care of? And in all reality, that's what this executive team that we're building is for. When I say executive team, we've got Brett Swarts as the trustee. You've got a financial advisor. In this scenario, that's me. And, you've got the law firm, Campbell Law. And we become the executive team for the client to make sure that these really big transactions that would otherwise incur an enormous amount of capital gains just end up being a favorable situation. And so it's the difference in this scenario with this guy. If we're talking $13 million, that's the difference between him losing half of that to the government right away and being able to only work with on future investments half of that money, or having the bulk majority of it at his fingertips, able to use, able to invest, able to make work for him so that it continues to grow. And is it easier to grow with 13 million, or is it easier to grow with 6.5 million? And that's again the layman's way of looking at it.
Very well said. Yep, that's fantastic. So with that, we're going to wrap it up today. And Jake, would you remind everyone, if they want to get in touch with you directly, what's the best place for them to find you?
Absolutely. Jake at mellorfinancial.com, MELLOR financial.com, and 1-800-773-1848.
Perfect. Jake, thanks for being here again, and I look forward to having you on next Friday and us continue to co-host this mastermind. And for those who want to get in touch with me, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. You can schedule a free consultation. Also important note, we need at least $1 million gain and at least $1 million net proceeds in order for the Deferred Sales Trust to make sense. So to qualify, it's got to be those bigger deals, if you will. So just keep that in mind as you're taking a peek. We have a free ebook you can download, Sell Your Business, Real Estate or Cryptocurrency Smarter. You can go to the website and download that. Again, that's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Hey, appreciate everyone listening today. And please rate, review, subscribe, share this with somebody who can help today and make a big difference in their lives. We appreciate everybody. Bye now.